Hello, everyone out there in those Medicare streets. This is Faye. And of course, I sell Medicare plans. This is the podcast where everyone who wants to sell Medicare, who's selling Medicare, who wants to know what is it all about. This is where they come to find out what is it all about. And you know that I give you what it's all about in different ways. So we talk about things that we are important to us. We talk about those things that are in active right in the news that's newsworthy right now, but we also bring to you the people who actually work out here in Medicare day after day after day. Tonight, I have a special guest who's been a dear friend since the very first time that I did a podcast, Rob Jones. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing great, Faye.
Oh,
That
that's
seems
so
like
good to hear.
yesterday, but it's been
That's
a
so
couple years, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been. It's so good to hear that you are well because I know that during COVID, and I hope you don't mind my mentioning, you were a little sick there for a little while. We were praying for you to pull through, and I'm so happy that you are out and about again.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you being one of my prayer warriors. I know I had many praying for me. I was on the vent for 2 weeks and took me about a month in the hospital before they finally kicked me out. But alive and kicking, Faye.
Oh, that's so great. It's so wonderful. It's always good to hear good, healthy success stories. So, Rob, after being away from Medicare and the sales for a little while, did you have to have like an adjustment when you came back?
I did have to have an adjustment. Of course, they sent me in with oxygen. So it's just like we do in the field. Our producer just be goal oriented. So I had to take the oxygen tank back and kind of reacclimate. It's not always an easy thing to drag the travel oxygen with you when you hit the field phase. So it was an adjustment period.
I can understand that, but it looks like now because you're on the road again that you're back in the field full force, right?
Full force. I actually, you'll like this story. I don't think I told you. The week after Thanksgiving that year, I was starting to feel a little bit better. So I figured it was time to break a record. You know how we always like to break personal records. So I actually was able to find 40 enrollments the week after Thanksgiving after being in the hospital for most of the month of August into July.
Get out. And so you did this right after Thanksgiving.
The week after Thanksgiving, yes, ma'am.
So you got them in for the AEP.
Got him in for the AEP.
Oh,
And
that was great.
yep,
So yes, you have always been the one who set goals. And the one thing that I've always admired about you, Rob, is when you set a goal, you don't, it's not, I guess it's like, well, that's a number. But as far as I know, and knowing you for the years that I have, you've always surpassed whatever you set. Because once
yep.
you start at it, you don't let anything stop you from actually doing what you're supposed to do to get it done.
Yeah, that's correct. Someone in the industry, their agency and a former company that I worked with named his agency WIT, which stands for whatever it takes. So that has stayed in my mind and works very well, being goal oriented in that goal and then setting that goal up another notch.
Oh, that's great. I since you mentioned the names, I can remember that you said to me, I may not have this right, but you said um something to the effect that if somebody doesn't respond and they don't buy, you say whatever, just move on. You have a saying for that. I can't get it right
Yeah,
in my head right
I,
now, but
I, I believe it's this, say, some will, some won't, who cares? who's next.
That's right. That's it. You got it. That's it. That's the one that always I remember. Oh, Rob says, well, so what else? So just keep moving. Don't even worry
That,
about it. So
that's right.
Rob, this year you have broken an extraordinary record from what I understand. You're not
Yeah, it
just
was,
doing those fantabulous Medicare sales, you're doing something else.
yes. Most people in the Medicare world know about ancillary products and filling in the gaps. As you know, I've been able to accomplish and be recognized with um, a lot of accomplishments, but in 2023 was the first time that I actually was able to win a national um, goal and a national recognition. I was recognized as being our number one ancillary producer for the year of 2023 on the issue business.
On all over all of the agents and all of the brokers that are working with your company.
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
wow. Wow. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
wonderful. That is really, really great. So you are back in the field. Explain to us what it is about the field that keeps you going. What drives you?
Well, I just love the connection that you can make. And no matter what product line that we're helping a client with, there's always leverage. The leverage is going to allow us to complete the enrollment. And when I confirmed that I was born to be a field agent and not over the phone, however, that's the one good thing that COVID did allow in the industry, a little more convenient to do things over the phone, but it's just a connection. I like to treat my clients like family, and being right there at the kitchen table, drinking a cup of coffee with them allows that connection to, in my opinion, to happen a little more easily. So there's just so much inspiration. Every place is a little different. The scenery is very invigorating. So to me, when I tried to do telesales during COVID, I did some research, talked with people who were successful doing that. And the answer I got was, Rob, you need to make 100 dials a day. Well, I could have to make my 100 dials, not be satisfied with the results, grab my mask and hit the field. So that was the confirmation, Faye, that, the Lord gives us all different talents. He definitely gave me the talent of being a field agent. So it's just that variety and the connection that you can make with clients. And for me, I feel like it's a little bit easier way to create leverage to leave them better off than where I found them.
Well, now at this point, by being that person who is right there face to face, you're probably also getting a lot of referrals.
Yes, they're very exciting. And I've kind of transitioned into a new opportunity. I mean, we could spend as long as you wanted comparing the difference between Med Supplement and Med Advantage plan. But I'm noticing more and more that when I educate my T65s, and my book is getting large enough that I'm getting T65 referrals all the time. And when I properly educate them on the difference between a Med Advantage plan and a Med Supplement, more and more of those T65s are choosing to start with the Med Advantage plan. And that's where a lot of my ancillaries, um, those who have been in the industry for a while, probably are familiar with the company called Guaranteed Trust Life and their
Yes.
hospital indemnity plan. And it just
Hmm.
makes a perfect partnership when you look at the cost of a med supplement. And I like to say, I can give you a similar med supplement coverage. It's just in an out box way. And
Right.
before that, Faye, I was having a lot of the T65s who started with med subs, and now after they get some premium increases, they're calling me to want me to come back and show them that other way because they were probably educated the first time. And I know a lot of people out there in the Medicare world are very firm in that MedSup is the best, they're very firm, and Med Advantage plan is the best, but it's really so individualized, as you have brought out so many times in our talks.
It is. It really depends on what the customer needs are, what's going to fit that customer best, and helping that customer by educating them. So that is something
Absolutely.
that we've always agreed on, that we are not selling, we're educating. And as you're meeting the people that you're talking to every day, by educating them, you are gaining more and more customers and therefore more and more referrals. So it all depends on
Absolutely.
what's going to be right for them, right?
Yeah. And the other thing, one of my accountability partners who has been the number one Medicare agent producer at my company 2 of the last 3 years. He told me his concept of red light, yellow light, green light. Anybody who's had any success, including you, in the Medicare space, what do we love? We love those residuals. And unfortunately, in the Medicare space, we also have the frequent changers, right? So
Yes.
if you have that concept of moving people from yellow to green and spending your most time with the green when you're looking at saving your book and building that residual, it's a great concept for anyone new in the Medicare space to talk with their mentor and apply that same concept.
Oh,
Because
that's a
nothing's
great
more
concept.
frustrating do to do the work and then find out that they bounce to another company because of the rules and regulations that we have with Medicare. And
Yes.
the other thing I would mention, one of the things that I love when I compare my experience of taking care of Medicare clients on the phone, initial clients, it's much easier to do with existing clients with your annual reviews after you build that trust. Is I find out a lot of times that when someone's enrolled with someone over the phone, they're not following up and they're not making sure. Let's talk Med Advantage plan for a second. How to use those benefits. Because let's face it, it's a lot of information in those couple hours that it takes to do that initial enrollment. So
It
if
it
I
is.
can fill in the gap with an ancillary product, because I'm finding a lot of times when I run into people who um, already have an agent, already have a broker, I'm not in the business to steal anybody's business. But if I can fill in the gaps with an ancillary and set individuals not following up, eventually they're going to see the quality of service that I do, and they're going to want me to take care of their Medicare as well.
You're absolutely right. So you're not, and you have conditioned yourself and you position yourself to not leave any little opening. You go right through that little small gap, even though it may be small at the time, because eventually they're going to open up a little wider and a little wider, and you're able to do more business with them. Those might also become customers for life insurance, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, our platform, Faye, um, we lead with final expense and then pivot to Medicare. And
Okay.
even I mean, one of the concepts that I always teach my business partners is they have to win a day first and then win back-to-back days to be able to win a week. So even with that new 48-hour rule, if I go in and take care of their final expense needs, I've already built that relationship. So now I get the scope signed, come back later that week after the 48 hours, and that relationship is already established. And then we can take care of their Medicare.
And being,
A great story
um,
for you with my
go ahead, give me the story.
no, I have a great story that will bring my point earlier to life. I
Okay.
was work I was working in a little town and I met this husband and wife. It was on a final expense leave. And I took I took care of their final expense. I took care of her final expense. He was in poor health and he already had enough final expense to take care of his funeral. So he would have been guaranteed issue. So I just focused on the wife and got permission to come back. When I came back, she already had an established agent for her Medicare. She had had questions that the Medicare agent did not respond to. And I reminded her again, I told her when I first met her that I'm not in the business to steal business. I'm in the business to treat my clients like family and leave them better off than where I found them. So I asked her, I said, has your Medicare broker ever educated you on how to fill in the gaps? She, of course, said no. I asked her if she wanted me to educate her on that. On any MedAdvantage plan, I don't care what state you're working, you have inpatient at the hospital, outpatient surgery, trip on the ambulance, skilled nursing. Doesn't matter what state, those are your four largest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I educated her. Then I did one better. I said, remember, I'm not in the business of steal business. So I want you to have a conversation with your agent. And if you want me to come back and go over numbers, I will. So what happened, Faye? She called me. It was less than a week later. She said, when can you come up and see me? And you know how that goes for a field agent. Uh,
Yes.
I, I, I happen to be in your area
You're
tomorrow.
here
You know,
tomorrow.
I could build,
Right.
that's the beauty of a field agent. I can always build a day. I've been with my current company in our free lead program since June of 2018. So I can work anywhere, you know. And a lot of times at this stage, my client dictates my schedule. I just build a day around that individual I need to see. But going back to
Mhm.
the story, Faye, she said, I talked to my broker and she said that she didn't think it was necessary to fill in the gaps. She thought
Uh,
that that was a waste of money. But the way you explained it, I want that. Okay. So of course I um, showed her some options to take care of those four largest copays, and
mhm.
she enrolled. It was over $100 premium because she wanted more than what I showed her. Guess what happened 2 weeks after? It
She went
was
in the
right after.
hospital.
Nope, she didn't go in her hospital. She
No.
called me back and said that she had called her broker agent 3 different times on questions and didn't get an answer. She wanted to know if I could answer her questions.
Of
Okay.
course.
So, of course, I could answer her questions. Then, in finding out there was actually a plan in her county which actually got her more benefits. And there were only a few copays that were larger. So I asked her if she wanted me to educate her on other options. And this was during OEP. So we go from a MedAdvantage plan to a MedAdvantage plan. So it ended up that full circle. Not only did I take care of her final expense first, but I was able to get her GTL. And I did it very compliantly. And I gave her an opportunity to reach out to her existing broker. And I
And
let her
this
decide that she wanted me to take care of everything.
this is how business should be done. I'm so happy that we're able to have this conversation, Rob, because I think sometimes agents are afraid to ask if they can help someone because the person already has a plan, which means they may have an agent. It doesn't always mean that they've gotten their plan on the phone or they did a self enrollment. They could also have an agent who just does not want to do or doesn't care to explain the other risk that the individual could be open to. So here is another opportunity, and that's what we do. We're not here to just throw things at people, but to provide them with those options that are going to help to protect them, because that's what insurance is for, to actually protect them against the risk. Let the insurance company have the risk. Pay the little extra money because you're not paying a premium for the Medicare Advantage plan. Pay the little extra money and fill in those gaps. That I can really see how you've worked that so well to become the 2023 #1 ancillary producer with your company. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And going back to that's why I love being in the field so much, because you always, a phrase that you told me since the first day we talked is we educate, we don't sell.
No.
Okay. So at the door, all I'm looking to educate, which is a little bit easier when they see me and they can see the concern in my face and the knowledge coming out. If I do that over the phone and there's no prior relationship established, it's a lot harder to show them how to fill the gaps.
It's funny, Rob, that you should mention this because I just did a part three of a three-part series today, actually. It should be in my YouTube channel soon, parts one, part two, and part three, and it's how to sell Medicare on the phone. And one of the things that we definitely have to be very, very cautious about when we're on the phone because we don't actually see the person's expression. I suggested in my presentation that people do Zoom or Loom or some other presentation where at least the individual can see your face and you can see
Absolutely.
their face, because that, just seeing their reactions. And would you agree that you have to ask a lot of questions?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Faye.
It's like you really have to delve in and ask a lot of questions, and then when the answer is given, ask another question, because you will never know what you might uncover until you start to ask those questions. But that sincerity of why you're asking those questions has to show through in your tone, in your facial expression, in the smile that you have, whether you're in front of them or on the phone. So you have done such an excellent job. I'm so happy that you're still serving all those people out there in the Midwest.
Thank you, dear.
So I am also so really, really happy. I wanted you to come on because it had been such a long time since we had seen each other or spoken to each other. I'm so happy to see that you're up and about, and I am praying continued good health, continued good strength, continued good business, Rob. Please.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.